Hey guys, welcome to 1.19 Skyblock episode 36. So this time for a new site, we got the main area here at nighttime. It looks really interesting without gamma override. Light illumination hasn't been really on my mind, except for making it spawn proof. Looks kinda interesting, but I get the feeling it would just get comments again from people complaining it's too dark and they can't see stuff. So we're gonna turn gamma override on. So we can also play at nighttime without having here to worry about the light too much. First, let's actually check up on the honey and honeycomb farm. I've been running this for quite a while. The game running AFK in the background. Yeah, let's see. So we got almost 6 stacks of honeycomb. So that's quite decent in case I need more beehives or other projects. It's a start, but it's definitely not super fast. Also, maybe check up on the shears. So those are the shears that go through the rotation. Very interesting. Okay. Then, yeah, lately I've been running it in honey mode again. No good news here. So we only have a stack and 14 honey blocks. And I think we need like 5 stacks in total to build the dirt farm. So I was thinking we should probably expand the farm. We got 16 modules now. Let's maybe just double it up. I already crafted more beehives. So we got 32 in total. So it's easy to expand this, at least just to make the line longer in case we want to add like a new section to it. Would get slightly more tricky because we would need to snake around the wiring here with the observers and so on as well. And just in general, the larger I make this, the more laggy it also gets. Because it's more likely that, well, one of the hives needs to be harvested. And then we would also just have more redstone active all the time. So this farm was really meant to be built in a small scale. But I still think like 32 modules or even 64 would be fine. But like for example in the Peaceful series we actually had a big honey and honeycomb farm with 480 modules. I think in that case we would need to keep lag in mind as we design of this concept. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna get the materials and just add 2 more modules to this. Also quite interesting, we're about to run out of cobblestone. So we only got 1 double chest left of the initial, a little bit over 8 double chests we had. But we just really burned through that stuff, so we craft a lot of observers, droppers, repeaters, building blocks and so on. I don't think I'm gonna actually AFK mine here again. Soon we will also add a cobblestone module to the blast chamber. So I ended up adding 24 more beehives to the setup for a total of 40. So we have 120 bees producing honey now. So in case we want, we can still expand this. Could imagine that I'm still not satisfied with the output, although it's already more than doubled. But we could definitely go up to 64, but then I would need to do bee breeding again. Let's see how that goes. I think in total we have a little bit over 2 stacks of honey blocks now. So we still can't build the dirt farm. It's gonna take a while. But yeah. Oh, actually don't even have 2 stacks yet. Yeah. Honey farms are slow. There you go. Yeah, we need roughly 5 stacks. But there's still stuff to do in creative. So I still want to expand on the dirt farm concept. Get the farm fully working. We could already build it and things will be pushed into the blast chamber. But I still wanna add the option to redirect the podzol so I can silk touch mine it afterwards. So we have an option to get podzol as well if we want to. Alright, so here's the podzol farm we designed 2 episodes ago. So here at the output, we either get podzol blocks or stone blocks that are still inside. We can't really make sure that we don't get any stone with this layout because there's a random chance that the blocks will be converted. So about 10% of the output here is stone blocks. Okay, so right now everything will be just pushed along here, and we just hook up this to the blast chamber, which we already built in combination with the nether tree farm. So this will be hooked up to this complex in the end, just built right next to it. Okay, so what I have in mind now is, first of all, make a switch. So instead of pushing all of the stone and podzol towards the blast chamber, we should push it towards first the sorting system, where we sort out the stone from the podzol and push the stone back into this line of blocks, and then a podzol into the block storage. Okay, I think we're just gonna move this piston over here a couple blocks, so we have enough space to add the, what should we call it? The switch to just send stone and podzol somewhere else. So the concept for making the switch is actually quite simple. Let's quickly add this. So we can either push those blocks past this piston, or also hook it up to the smart piston setup there directly. So I think I'm just gonna use some rails here. Just need to get past that redstone torch somehow. There we go. And then add an observer that triggers piston here. Okay, now all the blocks will be pushed this way. And this also still works with the 4 game tick cycle. Alright, now the switch is just to add a sticky piston that pulls out this block. You can just add a lever now. Pull out the block, and now everything gets pushed past the piston again. Then next time we push it a different way. Okay, next step is now to sort out the stone blocks from the podzol, because we definitely don't want stone blocks in the block storage. With my Silk Touch Efficiency 5 shovel, I can insta-mine all of the podzol. Would be quite annoying if you have some stone in between, so we would either need to switch the tool in case we put a beacon next to it, so we can also insta-mine the stone, of course. But yeah, we can also sort out the stone, and believe it or not, there's actually 2 ways to do this. Now that I think about it, there might even be a 3rd way, using silverfish somehow to sort out the stone, but that usually is random based, and sometimes it just takes the silverfish way too long to enter the stone. So let's not think about that, but I want to show you 2 ways. So the first one is using a node block and push the podzol under the node block. So there nothing happens, but if you actually push a stone under the podzol, then the instrument of the node block changes, which the observer can detect. There you go. Then we could, in case we get a signal from the observer, just power a piston that pushes the stone away. So all the stone would be pushed in one direction, and the podzol would just pass through the whole system. Alright, the second way to actually detect the podzol instead of detecting the stone is using a powder snow bucket. So there's a trick my friend Lumber actually told me about. I had no idea about this until a couple days ago. If you put powder snow on top of podzol, it actually turns it into this snowy block. So it changes the texture, which can also be detected by the observer. That is also quite interesting. So what we could also do is just to push in a block, then either use a dispenser and dispense the powder snow, check if you get a signal, and then push the podzol out. Maybe instead of dispensing the powder snow, we could also maybe just use a piston and push in the powder snow and then push it back. This might be quicker because the dispenser always has 4 ticks of delay. It would also be a way. So this also works, for example, also with a snow layer. Also turns it into the snowy variant. But of course, the snow layer would get destroyed every time. Unless we use a snow golem. So that would also be an option. That we maybe... Not sure if this is actually the right biome. Can I make a snow golem right now? So it would probably also be an option. How to think about it. Would probably also use that guy to detect it real quick. Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's so many options to do this. But I feel like the node block one is still the best choice. Because the downside is, with detecting the podzol, we basically need to push in the block, and then we need to wait a little bit. Because if you put a observer right next to it, we always get the output. So in case we push those blocks, this triggers the observer, so we already get one initial signal. Then the observer has a 4-tick cooldown. Then we can put in the powder snow, and after 4 ticks, and see if we get a second signal. Then we also have to remove the powder snow again. While the advantage with the node block is that we don't get any signal just because the blocks are moving. So I'm thinking we should maybe use the node block one, but it's quite interesting that there's so many options. A couple months ago, I actually already made such a node block sorting system back when the Skulk block was introduced. So remember, I made a contraption. We had a stone generator and a setup where we converted most of the stone into Skulk blocks that were pushed towards a player that insta-mined the Skulk for hole. And they had the same issue basically. If you get some stone inside, then the player couldn't insta-mine it anymore. So this was the setup. So in case a Skulk block got pushed in, nothing happened. But in case we got a stone under a node block, then yeah, we got a signal and basically send it to this sticky piston that pushed away the redstone block, and then the block got pulled out. There we go. Yeah. And since the block gets pulled out, 4 ticks later, we get a second signal from the observer, which causes the sticky piston to grab the slime blocks again. But actually, no, it's actually directly pushed back by this piston here. Okay, so this works out nicely. There we go. And this also works with podzol. So podzol, similar to Skulk, doesn't change the instrument. So we could already use this setup. So here also have a bigger setup. Yeah, back then for the Skulk mining setup, we had a 5 wide block stream because the player was like mining 5 blocks in a row. So as you can see here, this tileable system could sort the stone from the podzol. And this works with an 8-tick cycle. So right now, the blocks we have from the podzol farm come in at a 4-tick cycle. But you can always, like, if you just have a block stream coming in, you could always just, split it up. Like this. Push it over. Have this tileable system on the side. And then just merge it again in the end. But I was thinking, maybe we can even make a system that works on a 4-tick cycle. Probably won't be tileable anymore. But yeah, then we can use maybe a couple tricks and use the extra space just to make it faster. So making it twice as fast definitely won't be trivial. So the first thing we actually need to improve compared to the tileable system is how fast you actually push the blocks under the node block. So if you just have like a chain of blocks and push forward, then it always takes 2 ticks until the block actually arrives. But the first block direct in front of a sticky piston can be 0-ticked and moved to the new position immediately. So if we do this, we can basically immediately move the block and also the next block in. And then we still have the 2 ticks of delay here with the observer. So the no block changing instrument wouldn't, for example, be detectable by a block update detector. So we need the observer that always has 2 ticks of delay. Okay, so next thing is we need to instantly trigger a piston that pushes the blocks to the side. In case we got stone. And this piston probably also needs to be 0-ticked. In case we just normal power it, then it probably doesn't retract quick enough and new incoming blocks will be blocked. Yeah, maybe let's try this out. Okay, so we immediately trigger the piston as soon as we detect that the instrument gets changed with this setup here, but this is probably not quick enough. So we got some command blocks here that push in stone every 4 ticks. Let's see if this works. Yeah, you got the problem. Piston doesn't retract quick enough, so it just gets stuck here. We need to 0-tick this piston actually somehow. So what we need to do to 0-tick is, as soon as we power the piston, we need to remove the power source. So, for example, push this block to the side. We'll just add another piston that just pushes it to the side. Then the piston would retract quicker again, and then we immediately push the block back. Okay, so here we got a working system, but warning, this is locational. It works at this location, but not in others. But I'm gonna just show it because it's easier to explain the principles. In case we get a stone, we push it out as quickly as possible or trigger this piston as quickly as possible and also unpower the piston immediately again. So we do this by pushing away the block in the back and also pushing it back immediately. Okay, so this works fine. Every 4 ticks you can push in a stone block to get sorted out, while the podzol just passes through. Okay, so here's the problem why this is locational. So we're using some redstone dust here to power both here the piston that pushes out the stone, and also the sticky piston that pushes this block over. And you probably know about the properties of redstone dust. The update order is not consistent and depends on the location. So in some locations, the sticky piston would actually trigger before the piston here at the bottom would activate. In some locations it's different, it's just because the redstone dust is weird. And that's why you probably can't use the system. Well, we could, we just need to find a location where it works. A lot of people have already been arguing that the update order of redstone dust definitely should be changed. So a lot of people argue for to have an update order that is consistent with the signal strength. As you can see, we need 3 redstone dust. We put signal into the redstone dust here. You would expect that this piston gets updated first, right? And then the next redstone dust getting powered, and then the next one, which then powers the target block. We QC power the piston here. But it's actually not the case. We do have the block event delay already with the piston here on top, but this redstone dust here can already update the piston. So that's why this is locational. So if you would have a different update order with some rules, then it would be really nice. So in case if the redstone dust would at least be directional, we could at least build in certain directions, or would even be better if the redstone dust would just be would update according to the signal strength somehow. Okay, so that's the reason why I can't use the system and actually need to make it a lot more complicated to get around this issue. So what we basically need to do is to add some block event delay to trigger this piston. Okay, so the way we're gonna do this is we add another sticky piston there. It gets powered immediately. So this is getting triggered for sure. And then the other piston here as well. So that's gonna push away a block and make it possible for redstone that is getting cut by the block to trigger this piston that pushes away stuff. But since everything needs to happen quick, we also need to push this block back afterwards again. So I'm just gonna add a repeater here. Could we? I could also add a torch here on the side. No, we can't because of the redstone dust. Okay, so a piston that powers the block once it's being pushed over. So this is also getting pushed over immediately. That's why we're using sticky pistons here. Power source in the back. And dust here on the side. Also, immediately 0 tick this piston here so the block gets pushed back immediately. Alright, then all we need is still to trigger piston over here. How do we do that? We had also a power source there. I can probably use a comparator and a cauldron in the back. Push the other block back. Water. Alright, so this should work and would be non-locational. There's definitely some extra effort, let's see. Yeah, it's also quickly resetting. So now we got the non-locational version with the block event delay. Yeah, always a bit of a hassle to get the 0 tick stuff to work with the redstone dust being so weird. Alright, so I put everything together and we got a working system. So in case we get some stone inside of the podzol blocks, so maybe follow it. They will be sorted out now. There we go. Stone is getting sent this way to the blast chamber. And all the podzol goes this way to the block storage in the future. Right. I'd say I'm gonna hook this up now to the whole blast chamber nether tree farm complex. But I'll leave this block storage part open. So in the meantime, you can always flick the switch here. Let's maybe wait a moment. There we go. And send it all to the blast chamber. So it's just this way. Next episode we can then design that block storage. Already have some designs for that, but I got a really good idea how we can make a new one. Okay. Yep. This looks pretty good. Okay, so we're back in survival. Time to build this, but of course we need a lot of materials for this. Can also check that. How many honey blocks do we actually need? 234, so basically 4 stacks. Let's check up on the honey farm. I think we got that. Right, finally we got enough honey so we can build this. There's actually a lot of other stuff we need, like 533 pistons, 437 observers. So that's already 2000 cobble, another 2500 cobble. That's more than we have already. Then also we got sticky pistons. It's kind of close. I probably actually need to go cobble mining again with the AFK setup, and then next episode or the one after we need to build that cobble farm. And of course we get a little bit of stone once we run the dirt farm, but it's almost negligible. Alright, and the rest looks okay. I'm gonna use iron as a building block. Obsidian, we got from bartering. Yeah, rest should be doable. Okay, then the location of the farm. That's actually really important. So I already aligned it. The biggest mistake you can make when it comes to any 2x2 spruce farm is of course to rotate it. Definitely have done a mistake myself already in survival. So because of the way the tree grows, with selecting one sapling as a center point, if you rotate the farm, it wouldn't work anymore, because then some of the blocks would actually obstruct the tree growth. So really important, never rotate a 2x2 spruce tree farm. Okay, so if I build it up here, it's pretty good. So here's then the output of the everything gets pushed towards the blast chamber. So I build it up a little bit higher, just gonna push it over and merge it with this stream here, so I can push all of the blocks down, and then on top of this redstone torch, and it will be pushed towards the blast chamber. Maybe to address one of the comments I gotten a lot, also with the nether tree farm. Why do we merge the block stream here if we split it up later with the blast chamber? Why not just like have two sides where we push it in? Right, so the reason is the blast chamber needs to be perfectly synchronized. So we use a trick here that we push down all of those blocks in the moment the TNT explodes, which lowers the blast resistance. So now imagine you get a lot more trees on one side than the other. Then the moment that is actually important, where we push in the logs, is when one of the sides here is completely filled up. So that gives the signal to dispense the TNT, and then also push the logs later. Now, if the sides are not perfectly synchronized and all have the right amount of logs in front, the whole system wouldn't work. So that's why all of the logs have to be merged here and then split up later again. Okay, that's with this blast chamber. You can probably also make a different one, but yeah, that's the way it works. It's also quite convenient if you actually merge everything. Then you can just also add other block streams to it if everything is getting merged. Also, you can probably also design a different type of blast chamber where it's actually considered that maybe the sides are not synchronized, but then you also, that's really the main issue. Then you also need to dispense TNT for each side that isn't synchronized. So I feel like that might be quite an issue. So that's why we're doing it this way. Alright, so this is a good position. I also checked already if you have any slime chunks around. It's a bit annoying sometimes from making it spawn proof in case we don't have the mob switch. But yeah, definitely no slime chunks around. Can build it here. It's also probably quite convenient to get there. So we can just maybe expand this platform here. There's the storage in the end to get to the farm. Getting inside of the farm is a bit tricky though. There's probably not a nice way to get in here. Something I didn't really consider, but you can always like just end a pearl in there and get to the AFK position here under the trapdoors. Okay, then we're ready to go. First, of course, we need to gather materials and mine even cobblestone. Alright, good progress has been made. Not only has the farm been built, like deciding creative, I also already hooked up the bone meal farm to it. So there's now a water stream, takes the bone meal from the bone meal farm and sends it to the chest here. So all the hoppers below have already been filled up. I've been running the bone meal farm a bit over 2 hours and the chest was about to fill up now. Okay, there's also a switch, so we can always redirect the water stream, and this will later be also directly hooked up, for example, to the on-off switch for the dirt farm, and it will also later automatically turn on or off the bone meal farm. Basically, just need to send a redstone signal into this block to turn off the torch. Okay, one thing is still missing. Didn't have time for that yet. I still need to place a couple blocks. So the output of the blocks right now isn't hooked up to the blast chamber yet. So I'm gonna quickly put that stuff in. It's a bit of parkouring here. And then we're ready to go. We can try it out. Alright. Just over there. Okay, so the blocks will be pushed along this line here into the blast chamber. Alright. I already grabbed some saplings. We can try out the farm. I'm just gonna place one tree manually or grow it manually. Don't need to go into the AFK position right away. And then I'm gonna turn on the farm for just a moment. Basically just send a signal through and then turn it off immediately again. Then most of the stone should just be pushed out here and then we can see if everything is pushed correctly towards the blast chamber. Actually, let's maybe check again. There was the switch. Either send it to the storage, block storage, or to the blast chamber. Okay, now this block is retracted, so all the blocks would just follow this path into the blast chamber. Yep. Okay. Then I ran the verifier. Farm should be built correctly, but you never know. It's a bit inconvenient. Don't have any blocks on me. I can just jump over there. Okay. And turn it off again. Okay, then I guess I'm just gonna go in free cam and we watch what happens. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty bad. Did I forget to place a leaf or something? Oh, why did it... Oh! Oh, there was the leaf missing. I know what happened. Good to we turn it off immediately. I would have needed to place like 2 leaves there. I forgot about those. Yeah, definitely some redstone got flushed away. Like repeaters, redstone dust, etc. Okay, that needs fixing. Definitely. But apart from that, I don't think it was terrible. Definitely needs fixing. Okay. Things should be fine again. Let's try that a second time. Free cam. Now we also have some extra podzol in there. Okay, let's follow right in the front. I don't see any water flowing on. That's the good news. Okay, let's see. And the merging works. Okay, stuff will be pushed into the blast chamber. Okay, now we also get the podzol incoming. Sweet. Yeah, that's looking real good. Okay, that was the first batch of podzol. Alright. Yeah, so next up, I guess I'm gonna go to the AFK position and place the saplings from there. I was already wondering how should we actually turn on the farm? It's a bit inconvenient because could maybe have a lever here and then we even get a redstone line out of there. Probably, yeah. Send it over there. But for now, we can actually just turn it on. Maybe it runs without any podzol first. And we just push out some stone. We already have a stone farm basically, and then we start placing saplings, so it should be fine. Okay, can maybe try it out. Okay. Just get ready for the next batch. Okay. Go to the AFK position. There we go. Saplings ready. I think I can actually line myself. Yeah, facing north towards negative Z. Minus 180, 25. It's the right alignment. Okay, there we go. So any moment this will be pulled down. There we go. What happened? Someone got stuck. Okay. That's new. What did I get stuck on? Interesting. Let's see if this happens again. Definitely didn't happen in creative, so of course I was afraid because I'm not sitting in a minecart or anything. In the creative world I have definitely tried it without using the bot. Oh, that's actually quite interesting. Why did I glitch through? Did I get stuck on a block or something? Let's see if it happens again. I'm a little bit worried now. The whole concept might not work. Okay, this time it worked. I hope this is actually reliable here. Well, it shouldn't be. I mean, you can glitch through flying machines. That's really a problem. Client side. But I was hoping since it's in single player, not on a server, it should be fine. A bit worrying right now. But apart from that, it's working great. Just got an explosion here in the blast chamber. Okay, stuff is getting blown up already. It'll take a while until like the first podzol arrives there. Okay, so any moment I gotta play saplings again. Let's see if it works this time. Okay, I think I just got stuck on something. Yeah, now it's working fine. Alright, so let's see. I actually still need to set up the filters for the blast chamber output. So we actually collected dirt, stone, and also some of the spruce logs. And then I can actually try to AFK this for some time. Got some bad news. I glitched through the honey blocks again in survival. So back to the creative world it is. Let's see if we can hopefully find a fix that doesn't require a lot of rebuilding. Okay, so we need to be in a minecart in order for the player position to be calculated server side, and then we can't just glitch through the honey blocks anymore. So I was thinking instead of having the trapdoors here at this height and crawling under it, we could maybe get in a minecart like this. So I already checked it out. We can actually still aim at the podzol here in the back. So it's possible to place the saplings this way. This is actually quite lucky that it works out this way. Okay, then instead of having the trapdoors at this height, we actually need those because those, when pushed forward, punch out the leaves in front, which of course would obstruct my access to the podzol, so you can place saplings. So I was thinking we can maybe just glitch the minecart maybe inside of the trapdoor there, or we could maybe also just use fence gates, open fence gates, but I'm not sure if I would click them all the time. Oh, another block in the back. So let's see. Let's try to place them here and drop a minecart down. There we go. Could maybe, even if the open fence gates don't work, oh, we can't place rails on top of the honey. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so will we click this all the time? No? That's actually quite promising. I guess we found a workaround. Yeah, that's what I'm still worried about, that we actually move the minecart somehow while the machine is running. Hope this doesn't happen. So the water also flows over there, so it shouldn't affect the minecart at all. I'd say we just try this out now. So far this is looking really promising to me. It's also important that we don't get like suffocated somehow by some blocks, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Actually quite relieved that we found a working solution for this. Okay. Let's also do this in survival now. Alright, all good in survival now. I'm getting enough saplings. I'm not glitching through. Saplings are placed correctly, so all good. Yeah, we're also about to actually blow up a nice chunk of podzol here. Waiting for that, perfect timing. And there it goes. Okay. Yeah, so all of those items are sent towards the storage now. I already set up the filters. So now we get a little bit of cobble, which is actually nice. Dirt and some spruce logs. Okay. Alright, good news. The farm has been running for 90 minutes straight and worked perfectly, no issues whatsoever. So we got a good amount of saplings from this as well that I picked up, and of course a ton of items. So check it out. So we got the dirt here. So we got 3 double chests, almost 3.5 double chests of dirt. Then also a good amount of stone, about 20 stacks already, and about 9 stacks of spruce logs. Okay, super happy with this. Yeah, finally getting some dirt, the brown gold. Can do a lot of things with this. Of course, passive mob farms, things like melon and pumpkin farm can be made now with enough dirt. Potato farms and so on. There's just so many options now. We can also turn it to grass. We can actually turn the dirt into mud, which can be turned into clay, which can be turned into terracotta. So the way to get our terracotta in Skyblock would be either villagers, which is of course a bit tedious, because you have to get the villagers first, or just build more machines that are way more fun, and yeah, automatically also turn our dirt into terracotta. So it is actually possible. So the way we would do this, we would need to place down the dirt again, then turn it into mud with a dispenser and some water bottles. Then we can turn the mud into clay, blow it up with the blast chamber, and then combine the clay balls with the auto crafting table. So we get clay blocks, put those in a furnace array, get terracotta, combine it in a crafting table with some dyes to get the colored terracotta, which can be put into the furnace array again to get the glazed terracotta right away. So that's gonna be something we definitely eventually automate once we need some glazed terracotta. But as I said, the plan for the next episode is now to work on that podzol block storage, which will also be used for other things. For example, the mushroom blocks, mushroom stem blocks. That's something you also need to silk touch mine and can't just push into the blast chamber if you want to get those blocks. So this will also be a multi-purpose block storage later. This will actually be a huge industrial district in the end. We're looking forward to this, but it's already actually quite huge with the nether tree farm. Now this farm, cobble farm will be added. I'm also thinking about maybe a small birch, small spruce and oak farm would be nice in case we need some of those logs. And we can always add more. There's so many options for this. Yeah, so really looking forward. What's coming next. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.